Blog Talk Radio.
Hello, everyone. This is Laurie Smith on Blog Talk Radio. Good evening. It's 10:30 p.m. here in Calgary, Alberta. Saturday night, November the 3rd. I'm glad to be here. I had to bump my show up an hour because I had to finish my laundry. So sorry, I'm a little bit late there. And just wanted to talk about child abuse. I'm speaking out against child abuse, talking about it, and my shows are pretty graphic, so you have to listen at your own discretion. I have a discretionary warning on my shows, on all of my shows, actually. And so, anyone 19 years and under, I would ask that you would have permission from an adult, parent, caregiver, guardian, someone who can help you make a decision, whether or not you should be listening to the show, right? I talk about the extreme issues of abuse, right? Not for children. My shows are not for children and really adult-oriented. Child abuse is a serious issue, and, we need to deal with it. And as a society, as a world population, it's kind of ridiculous that the headlines that roll up every day, children dying at the hands of somebody, whether it's someone the child knows or stranger or whatever. Mainly it's someone who has opportunity to get a hold of the child. So it's generally someone who knows the child, and knows the parents of the child, and has an opportunity to get a hold of the child. But there's a whole statistics. Statistics. They're all similar. Some of them are a little bit different depending on where you look. But mostly it's the majority of child abuse is perpetrated within the home, and a larger percentage is someone within the immediate family, and someone who has access to the child. But there are, lots of other cases of child abuse that are perpetrated from, where the child is, whether it's daycare, babysitter, friends of the family, or, stranger abduction, just different things like that. But it's absolutely horrific. And the stuff, you see these headlines roll up, I do, and it just breaks my heart. I'm thinking, how can these people do this to their children? No, I don't even at that point think about myself, growing up abused. I just think of these children, and I'm thinking, how could someone do that to a child? How can people do these things? And, that's the question. Why? How? Why? Like, what is it within someone that causes them to think that it's okay to hurt children like that? It breaks my heart. It really does, because it's going to continue on until people change the way they feel about children and stop treating the word discipline and the word abuse as the same word. Discipline is correction. It's to correct behavior that's not acceptable. And children need correction. They need help. They need help from their parents. They need help from the teachers. They need help from everyone, really, to help them to stay, within the norms of social behavior. But the thing is that, they don't need to be abused, right? Or killed, murdered, maimed, sexually used. There's all these pathetic people out there who are using children sexually, and going to other countries and using other people's children in other countries for their own sexual purposes. And it just makes me sick. This has been going on since time began, obviously. And why? These are the questions that roll around my head, like, why? Why are people doing these things? I don't get it. I don't understand how someone could be so depraved or so mentally ill or psychologically ill or evil to do these things, whether it's a man or a woman or another, younger adult or, a teenager or whoever is abusing children, right? I just don't get it. I'm like, what's the matter with them? What is the matter with them? What's the matter with people? And then what's the matter with the society, that doesn't usually want to get involved, knowing that when, statistics are out there and accurate, that 1 in, pretty well 3 to 4 girls will be abused sexually in some way under the age of 18 and under, and 1 out of, now they're saying 5, even 4 to 7 boys will be sexually abused under the age of 18 and 18 years and under. And with this knowledge, we have a whole society that really doesn't care. There's a whole group of people that do care, and I know a whole lot of them. People, working to try to stop this mess. And, there are a lot of good people out there working within the system even, to try to help save children's lives and to help prevent this stuff. But it's still happening because there's so many sick people out there. That's why. Incredibly sick people. And why should a child have to pay the price for that? Like, that's not right. And as far as I'm concerned, like, how do we stop this mess? Well, I think stiffer penalties would be, stiffer sentencing would definitely help. Life sentence for any child abuse that was proven without a doubt. Anything. I don't care whether it's physical, emotional, verbal, psychological, sexual abuse, whatever kind of abuse it is, life sentence for these people that perpetrate and have been found 100% guilty without a shadow of a doubt. But no, you know what we have? We have a whole group of people out there saying, no, let's reunite the family. Let's keep the abusive parents and abusers with the children. Let's leave them in the home and let them have, try to get their lives together. Is it going to happen? No. They tried that in the 60s and it didn't work. They left us in the home and it didn't work. Like, what's the answer? Foster care? Not really. You see how many abuse cases come out of foster care situations? Children already who've been abused, who've been mistreated, who've been let down and abandoned, end up in these foster care situations. And a lot of them end up even abused again. Then who do they trust? Nobody. As it is, they don't trust anybody anyway, and then they get interested. They're just like, shut down. Because the whole world is abuse, and it just, like, so, sure, there's some good foster parents out there, just like there's good parents out there. Not every parent is a bad parent, and not every parent is an abuser, and not every foster parent is an abuser either. There's good people out there, right? Now, there's also really bad people out there doing horrible things to children. But we only want to think about the good people as a society. Oh, isn't that great, We don't want to think about the bad people and what they're doing to children. Why? Because we can't stop it. If we could stop it, then it wouldn't be happening. And it's a huge, huge issue. It's not going to be solved overnight. This past week we had a whole lot of us had a person who we looked up to, a person who was just really, as far as her work in trying to help people get out from abuse and domestic violence and help children, to escape that type of life, like really promoting, people who are being abused, if there's children in the home, to get them to safety, get themselves to safety, get their children to safety. Susan Murphy, Susan Murphy, she just passed away from cancer, and, she wasn't that old. She was a survivor herself, and she had done so much work. Like, I don't even know everything about her. I talked to her on the phone a couple times a few years back when I first started doing my blog talk shows here, and she was an amazing person, an amazing woman who did a lot of great work. She wrote a book called Time's Up, and if you look up on the web, just type in your browser, Time's Up, you'll see that there's information that'll take you to probably different websites where her material is. And she's now gone on to a place where she's not suffering anymore. But, this is it. Like, the advocates that are out here making noise and really trying to do something and help promote, change, right? So that people will wake up and stop abusing children and trying to help the rest of survivors to reach out and get some help and not let their lives be destroyed by abuse. There's people are passing on, right? And I'm hoping, that the next generation coming up will do 250,000 trillion times more than we've done to stop this madness. What it takes is a person who is not self-centered. You know, I mean, I could just close myself off and say, oh, I was abused, so I'm just going to worry about myself, and I'm just going to be concerned about myself. And, you know, who cares about everybody else? I'm just going to be happy with my recovery, you know. And I'm just going to be happy for myself and go off and do my own thing. And it's like a lot of people will do that, and I guess, you know, there's no crime in that. But the issue is that people that work to try to stop human rights abuse is really, and that's exactly what child abuse is. It's a very, you got to take the focus off of self, because the work you do is not going to be paid. You know, I mean, they don't, getting into social work and whatnot, I mean, that's a great thing for people that are doing it. Not much can be done because of the red tape that's all involved, but people do pick up paychecks doing that. But there's people like me and a whole lot of other people out here, and I'm not doing much. I'm trying. I don't have a whole lot of time, but, you know, there's a lot of people out there doing great work who give to do it, right? So in other words, it costs them to do it. They don't make anything off of it. They're giving in order to do this, right? And I hope and I just pray, you know, that the next generation and the next generation and the next generation take this information that's been passed on, like even before, you know, that I could see other people doing this great work, you know, even years ago, and then run with it and really make a difference, right? But it's going to take people who aren't out there for the big paycheck, because there's no money in helping people. No, there's absolutely no money in it, and there shouldn't be. Why should you get paid to help someone who can't afford to pay? You know, lots of help out there for people that have money. If you don't have money, there's not really going to be much help for you. It's really quite sad, but that's the situation. You know, it's sort of set up that way because people want to make a paycheck. So they say, well, if I'm going to get into the business of helping people, then it's going to have to cost them, you know, because I need to make money, right? And that's always kind of bothered me. It's like my books, you know, like I haven't sold any books for a while, but the books that I did sell previously the profits went to a not-for-profit because I didn't want the money for those books. And, you know, even now, you know, on my website with my books listed there, like my money that I get, I'm going to donate it because I don't want the money for my books, right? It's about child abuse, and it's about stopping child abuse, and it's about being another voice out here to break the silence about what children go through when they're abused, right? So I work to make a living, and I don't want the money for those books. And so I'll donate it to groups that I think are doing a great job. Just help fight this fight against child abuse and human rights abuses, right? So it takes people who are willing to give, really, of their time, of themselves. You know, it's like there's really good foster parents out there who give and share their lives in their homes with children who really need a place to live that's safe, that's secure, where the people are going to try to help them and not hurt them, right? So there are good people out there doing great things. And, you know, I mean, I just thank God for those people, right? But there's also a whole lot of other people that are doing a lot of work to help survivors and to help stop child abuse who are in it for the paycheck. It's all about making money. I want to make money. I want to help people, but I want to make money. It's like, well, I want to help people, but I don't want to make no money off of it. So what I was hoping to do was to somehow supplement my income so that I could do all of my advocacy work for free, which is what I'm doing right now. But I can't do much because I have to work, you know, so I'm gone 12 hours a day, committed 12 hours a day to work, right? So I can't commit that 12 hours to doing something to help stop this mess. So what I do, a couple hours here a week, you know, a couple hours there, online, you know, or just talking on Blog Talk Radio or on Spreaker or wherever. And, you know, it's a sad situation because there's a lot of people out here who do care but can't do much, right? But it all adds up, and I think it all counts. And, you know, all together, everybody's voices really do count. And I said that, like, you know, 2-3 years ago, and I'm still saying it. Every single voice counts in this because children are dying needlessly, right? These are people who are murdering, maiming, torturing children, and if they don't die, they're going to be stuck with a lifetime of memories unless they just, you know, split dissociate, or whatever coping mechanism they choose to forget about it, drug abuse, whatnot, right? I mean, just so many things. And it's like, why should these children suffer? Because our society is so sick, right? So I spend a whole lot of time talking about this stuff, and it's because it gets down to the root of the issue, that mankind from the beginning has been evil and rotten. Between, there's been a few good people. It's like somewhere in there's good people. But, there's also some really monstrous, evil people that happen to have children and then do horrible things to them. And some of a lot of it's not even physical. It's the emotional, psychological abuse. That's the stuff that really kills the soul, kills the spirit. And I think that, there's so many people that think, oh, well, that parent's not really abusing their children. They're just, they're just strange in the ways that they deal with them. But those children will pay the consequences for that, because the parents or the parental figures, whoever they are in that child's life, are emotionally and psychologically unstable themselves, right? Because that's the only reason why people hurt children, is because they are unstable in some way, although in their thinking, in their actions, right? Nobody in their right mind would want to psychologically abuse a child. It wouldn't be something you would do if you were in your right mind. If you were psychologically, mentally unstable, you wouldn't think twice about it, because you're thinking of yourself, right? And so, I want to say 90%, but I mean, let's just not even go that high. 80% of the world is just screwing children over in every way possible. And this just makes me sick. It really does. And I don't mind speaking out against it. Probably what fuels it is the anger within me of watching what happened to my family. Watching the hatred and the ridiculous garbage that our parents put us through, all because they wanted to. It was the thing to do. That's what they wanted to do. They wanted to hurt each other, and they wanted to hurt their children, and that's what they did. It was all out of self-gratification. Well, my life sucks, so yours is going to suck too. And that's the way it went. That from both of our parents, not just one. And it's like, well, we paid the price for that. That's for sure. And this stuff is going on. I've seen so many cases of when I was growing up, especially. Now, not so much because I'm pretty isolated, but I know that it's happening. And it's happening because people are self-centered, ignorant, and psychologically ill. And they're out there raising children, screwing them over in every way possible. So don't forget that. You keep an eye out and watch out for children. And if you're doing that to your children, you stop it. And you get yourself some help. Get yourself straightened out so that you can raise your children properly. And if you're being abused, get some help. Do not allow yourself to continue on in that, to die in that. Because even if you don't physically die, it can cause people to spiritually die. So you're dead anyway. Don't allow that to happen to yourself. Right? This is all wrong. And that's why I said I've only got so much time left on the planet. I don't know how much time that is. So I figured, hey, I'm going to speak out against it because it's wrong. So if we're not speaking out against it, that means we're saying it's okay. And that's exactly what it is. To stay silent and remain silent, and something is wrong, it means you're condoning it. You're saying it's okay. Yeah. Why? Because nobody wants to get involved. It's a huge issue. Okay, how are we going to combat it? What do we do? That's just the issue. If we could fix it, that's what I was saying, it's what I've been saying on every show pretty well, it would have been fixed a long time ago. Okay? But I think the main key is to not let it get slip back under the carpet. We got to keep talking about it. There's great organizations out there, Darkness to Light, D2Light, Talk, TAALK.org, Dream Catchers for Abused Children, Little Warriors up here in Canada, the Lamplighters.org, Margie McKinnon. There's, Bill Murray here on Blog Talk Radio with SCAN, Stop Child Abuse Now. There's great groups doing really awesome stuff. Just get out there and get behind them and support them and do what you can. Not everybody's got money to donate. I know I don't. But pass the word on. You never know. You might pass a website on that really have needed to see that day, And what it does is it shows that you care and that you want to be just one more person, just one more voice. Even if you don't have a voice, feel like talking about it. I talk about this stuff because it's really the only thing that I can do. I thought, hey, well, I don't have any money and I don't have any position or power, but I got a voice and I can talk, And so many people won't come forward. They won't say anything, So many people won't ever tell anyone they've ever been abused because for so many reasons. And for me, I didn't have anything to lose. I had everything to gain. For me, it was like if I didn't tell somebody, I was going to die in this situation of feeling that my parents had won, because they manipulated and they just manipulated everything, right? I mean, they were abusers, right? So I thought, man, I'm going to speak out. I really don't care. And so, what, does it make me look like a bad person for narking on my abuser parents? No, abuser parents betrayed us. They were the betrayers, not me for speaking out against it. They betrayed each other and they betrayed us. So I don't mind speaking the truth about what they did. And, it's what it does is it shows other people that behavior is abusing, anyone. I don't care who it is. That's why really I'm talking about human rights issues, because it's just wrong, And I don't mind speaking out against it. It's like, I'm going to go one day and leave this place and go on to my eternal home, praise God. And, when I leave here, I want to leave here with a good conscience that, yeah, you know what, I did what I could to say what's wrong, Sure, there's great stuff going on. There's wonderful stuff going around. Lots of people are doing wonderful things, and it's not all bad. But what I'm here to talk about that most people can't talk about is what's really bad, because I've been there. I know what it's all about. And so for me to remain silent is really an injustice as far as I'm concerned, because so many survivors can't talk about it. They won't be able to, and they never will. And then there's so many children and adults who have been murdered by it because of abuse. They can't speak out because their lips have been silenced. They have no voice, right? Well, there's a lot of us out here who are their voice, and we're speaking out and we're saying this is all wrong. And so, yeah, get on board with somebody, find a group that you like volunteering for, and really promote protection of children, prevention of child abuse, and domestic violence and abuse, help for those people, right? I mean, just get involved, because this is happening. Shelters are generally full, no matter what city you go to. There's generally lots of children involved, and there's lots of help for people after they've been abused, right? But some, I wouldn't say lots. There's still actually not that much help for people who've been abused, but I mean there is some. But the thing is we need to stop this mess so that these people don't have to live like that. That's absolutely ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I knew so many people whose lives were destroyed by abuse. I mean, I could list them all, name names. I mean, a friend of mine growing up, I was a teen, then heading into my early 20s, I knew this guy for quite a while. But his mom moved herself and her two sons to get away from their alcoholic, abusive father who beat them up and put them in the hospital, was threatening to kill them. She moved across the country to get away from this guy. I mean, she was a brave woman. She was one salary woman making just, whatever money she could, living in this crap apartment, where I grew up, the kind of the poverty-stricken area there where, a lot of poor people. And, I mean, her sons, she got them away from their abuser dad. And that's just one person. Almost all of my friends were abused. I only had a few friends who had what seemed to be somewhat just normal lives. It just seemed to be pretty good, Nobody was getting hurt. Nobody's threatening to kill each other. I mean, there were family problems. Every family's got problems. But, almost every kid that I met and knew was growing up in these stupid, horrific situations. You know, well, a couple of my friends took their parents to court and won because of the abuse. They won the case. Awesome. Thing is they were both drug users and drug addicts, and I don't even know if they're still alive. But you know, it ruined their lives. The abuse, you know, like ruined their lives. They won their case in court, but their lives were lost way before that. So child abuse kills, like whether it kills a child physically or it doesn't, it will kill them spiritually, right? That's what happened to me. And my siblings, two of my siblings killed themselves, took themselves out. And, you know, so many survivors, you know, can't cope. They just can't cope. And that's why I hope people will listen to my message, you know, on all of my shows here, on Blog Talk Radio and Spreaker and different places, you know, get help, you know, even if it's online, anonymous help so that nobody knows who you are. Reach out, get some help. Do not allow yourself to be destroyed by this, right? And the rest of us, you know, we just got to keep on trying to get the word out, doing, you know, because it's not stopping. Child abuse is still happening and children are still dying. And every day, you know, so many will end up in the hospital due to the abuse they suffered, and every day there will be so many children killed. And you can imagine the tens of thousands of homes around North America, let's just say Canada and the United States, right now, where there's all kinds of domestic violence, assaults and whatnot going on right now, and children involved, and also just plain old, straight old-fashioned child abuse and child sexual abuse. I mean, it's just horrible and horrifying to think about how many children are being molested right now and how many people are sexually using children right now. The numbers are really high. And I'm a survivor of child sexual abuse. So I know the horrors of this stuff. And it's happening. It's happening, and we can't stop it. And so that's what breaks my heart. And this generation won't solve it. But I'm hoping, you know, I mean, I'm telling you, if you have it within you, you know, get the next generations going and get the ball rolling to change the way that people feel about children. Children are not sex toys, are not punching bags. Children are not put there to use and manipulate psychologically against the other parent. Children are not to be abused. And we have to change the way people feel about children if we're going to stop child abuse. Because, you know, there's all kinds of people, men and women out there abusing children right now and you know, killing their babies and beating on their children and doing these horrible things to their children, screaming at them and throwing things at them, throwing them out of the house. I mean, this is absolutely ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And, you know, those people, to me, the people that perpetrate child abuse deserve the death penalty. That's really, to be honest with you, that's how I feel. But if we did that, 70% of the American population in Canada would be dead, the adult population, because everybody's out there abusing children, and they all need to stop. You know, it just makes me sick. But anyway, I'll be back on probably next Saturday. I'm sure I can come up with another gripe session. And thanks, everybody, for tuning in. You know, I've done almost, over 900 shows here on Blog Talk Radio in different places. And, you know, I appreciate everybody taking the time to listen to my shows. And I've featured on a regular basis over the last 3 years, and this month will be the third year that I've been on Blog Talk Radio. So, yeah, I appreciate everybody who's really taken the time to tune in and pass the word around about my show and stuff. And I hope that this just, you know, gets people to realize this issue isn't going away until enough people make enough noise, you know, and really get something done about it, because it's not going away, right? Well, have a great night, everybody, and we'll talk to you again real soon. Take good care.